recently Joe Biden did what he campaigned on, which is canceling student loan debt. And what he did was largely in line with his campaign promises. In some areas actually went further than it. If you have Pell Grants, you actually got more cancellation than he was campaigning on. So from the point of view of a progressive, how much of a win should we consider this? How much of the work that needs to be done has been done?
Well, first of all, this is a progressive win. Does anyone think that Joe Biden, if it weren't for Bernie Sanders' campaign, Elizabeth Warren's campaign, or progressive pressure, would have suddenly decided I want to forgive student loans? Of course not. So the progressive should take ownership in the wins on the $300 billion plus climate investment, on student loans, on the child tax credit. But I say Joe Biden's presidency is a down payment presidency. It's the first step, but there's still a lot of work to be done, both on climate, on student loans, on childcare, on universal preschool. But at least we are making progress.
Yeah, I think there really are those at least two different ways of looking at it as a down payment, or as some progressives fear, well, this is what's gonna be done. And now that it's been done, whatever pressure there was to do something might evaporate. Like, I know a lot of people are excited about the student debt cancellation. Others are pushing for more. AOC was talking about how were you to get rid of the Trump tax cuts, that could evaporate all of the debt, not just a portion. I personally think this could be a precedent. If one president can cancel 10,000, then why can't the next president? Or change the thresholds of different parts of the income-based repayment plans. What's your perception based on conversations you've had in DC? Do you feel like some of the more centrist members of the Democratic Party are going to want to say, we did this thing, now we can move on to other stuff?
Sure, but I think we have to keep the pressure on. It costs $30,000, $40,000 to go to college. We need more debt cancellation.
As a progressive, the past couple of years have been a little bit difficult, seeing so many pieces of legislation not make it through. The filibuster remains. The SCOTUS is still the worst. But now, over the past month or so, Biden has actually done a good bit. There's student debt cancellation, the IRA was passed. He seems to be actually getting things done, and there is this newfound energy, this newfound hope almost. And it's really been encapsulated in the idea of Dark Brandon, the rise of these memes of Joe Biden now being a fighter. And it's obviously heavily ironic, the idea that he's some sort of supervillain or something. But I'm just curious, is any of this, the cultural shift or the meme part of it, has that made it into DC? Is there any feeling amongst your colleagues about how people's perception of Biden or the White House might be changing as we near the midterms?
I think it's changing. I mean, because we're delivering. It's not rocket science. I mean, we're delivering on student loans. We're delivering on climate. We're delivering on bringing manufacturing back, and so people are more willing to cut the president the benefit of the doubt. And I've seen the Dark Brandon the memes, and I think that's just showing finally the president standing up for what he campaigned on. And so what progressives have been saying is, if you had just done it earlier, maybe the poll numbers wouldn't have been below 50%. And I hope the lesson is obvious. Do popular things. Do things you say you're going to do in the campaign, and that happens to be good politics.
Representative, how many seats do you think? What's your calculus? Your read of the Senate of the Congress as a whole, Senate and the House? How many seats do we need in each chamber to make much bigger sweeping changes come November? Do we need just 2 seats in the Senate? Do we need to expand in the House? What is your read?
If we can just hold the House and get 2 more seats in the Senate, we can get voting rights. We can codify Roe versus Wade. We can eliminate the filibuster. So we're close, and that's why this election matters.
Do you think 2 seats genuinely is the amount? Because I hear that, but then I hear some say, well, there might be some who are soft on some issues. Maybe we need 4 seats in the Senate. Do you feel like there are indeed just 2 and then everything's good? Or for a true progressive agenda, do we need to be aiming for a supermajority? Is there any chance we can get 60, or do we need at least 5 more seats to have some buffer?
Well, look, for the real full progressive agenda, obviously it'd be great to have 60 senators, but just to make progress on voting rights, on Roe, I do think getting 2 more senators, we would be able to do that.
I want to ask just one more question because I know we can only keep you for so long. You talked about the fairly obvious lesson that it is popular to do popular things. My hope, my small but brightly burning hope, is they'll keep doing it, that maybe they'll want another hit of political endorphins. And there are things that he could do unilaterally. He could deschedule marijuana. I think that would be very popular. I know John Fetterman was pushing him to do that when they met up this last week. So do you expect anything else to come? Are there talks about other small things he could just give to keep this feeling going?
I'm hopeful on marijuana legalization. I'm not sure before the midterms, but before the midterms, the biggest things that he could do right now is on the budget to make sure that we are funding our key priorities on healthcare, and then after the election, we can say, look, we can do more student loan relief. We can expand Medicare to at least 60. We can fight to get dental vision in there. We can do childcare. We can do preschool. We can deliver on voting rights. We can do police violence reform. But that is an agenda after the midterms. The one thing I do think we have to do is make sure this side permitting deal doesn't pass. I'm chairing the Environment Committee and making sure that we don't sacrifice our frontline communities for the climate bill that we passed.
Definitely important, and I know a lot of people are feeling excited about the climate fight based on what's been done, but let's not undercut it immediately with some of those things. So I do appreciate your focus on that, and I appreciate you taking the time out to join us. I know that you're busy. You are our window into what's going on in the Democratic Party. So Representative Khanna, we always appreciate you showing up on the show.
Always love coming on. Look forward to being back. Thank you, John.
Thank you. Check out the Damage Report podcast each day, wherever you get your podcasts, whether Pocket Casts or Stitcher or iTunes. You can join me as I give you the news and stories you want, with a range of co-hosts and interview guests jumping in on the fun each day. Again, that's the Damage Report, wherever you get your podcasts. And if you get them at iTunes, don't forget to rate and review. Sometimes I'll read them live on the show.